Turkey Tom. He's way up in the ladder in terms of commentary YouTube channels, well known for his video essays, speaking on all sorts of topics, other YouTubers, sometimes even lol cows. But much like the leaping lemur, a number of allegations regarding him and how he treats women have come to light. So today, with you guys, we're going to dive into these accusations and accounts from these girls that have come forward on the dreaded Kiwi farms. The main character when it comes to the allegations today would be Sacramento89. She would come forward on Kiwi Farms January 14th of this year, alleging that she had dated Tom recently and would add these photos for evidence. Hi Kiwi people, I dated Tom for a few months after meeting him on Tinder. I'm not super into the internet stuff and had no idea what Kiwi Farms was, but this page was constantly his #1 search Safari thing that pops up on iPhone when you went to go Google something. When I asked about what this was, he got super defensive and weird about it, so obviously I looked into it and found all this crazy shit, like him admitting to being bisexual. Messaged the owner of the website, Joshua Moon, to get the code to post here. Basically, I started to get suspicious about all the e-girls he's followed / interacted with, and he started raging at me. He also lied to me at first about the fact he does YouTube. He did some crazy shit like kicked in the holes in the walls when he was renting because some e-girl copies Belle Delphine got hacked and the hacker was blackmailing him with his dick pic. Well, if that doesn't sound like a little bit of a rocky start to an unstable relationship, then I don't know what would. Let's take a closer look at some of her claims of their instability. You see, this whole relationship of theirs from the very beginning was built on lies and distrust. When they first began their relationship, Tom would lie about who he was to her. Like I said, he lied to me about who he was, but I figured it out pretty quickly, like on our first date, lol. He said it was weird for a girl he's dating to look at a gossip website. Told me before I should never look him up online. The breakup was kind of mutual, but I also sort of crashed out. I don't know about you fellas, but if someone who was a potential prospect told me I should never look them up on the internet, or if really anyone said that in real life to me, you bet your ass McGrubba is going to look them up. I feel as though that's just common sense. The moral is that in the very earliest beginnings of their 7-month-long relationship, it was already built on lies, so going on and on into the relationship, things would only get rockier, especially as a hack of one of Tom's exes would come about. Remember her, we'll talk more about the gross implications of that relationship later on. But this girl would go by Ellie or Creepy Hoarder. Someone would hack her account and get a hold of a handful of photos of the turkey testicles and a phallic appendage that goes along with them, emailing Tom's family, from the sounds of it, trying to extort him with these photos, but that whole situation would lead to Tom getting back into contact with this Ellie girl during the relationship with Sacramento, and we'd see her address this in the following screenshot. Alright, N-word. I don't know what you're trying to say to me. I think I was just mad because I saw you texting this girl nonstop when we hung out. Now I put a face to the name and it freaks me out that she's like this weirdo pedo baiter. Are you mad at me? A little bit, yeah. Wow, okay there. Buddy's casual use of the N-word was great. Also another parallel we can draw to lemur. But she opened up to what was supposed to be her boyfriend at the time on how his communicating with this girl constantly, even while they were hanging out, was making her uncomfortable. And his only response to that was he shouldn't have even told her, and that he was even a little mad that she brought it up. Super suspicious behavior like this would either plant the seeds in her head of Tom's infidelity or fan the flame that was her suspicions of it. As the tumultuous relationship between them would rage on, more red flags and worrisome behavior would arise. That huge red flag would be the claims of the existence of a just-in-case folder. Not the worst of the allegations just yet, but awful nonetheless as we get into it. Sacramento would say, he told me he has a file on his computer called Just In Case that's basically voice memos or calls from his exes to blackmail them in case they ever say something about him. Now, this is just wild. What exactly went on with Tom's previous relationships to make him be that on edge and prepared to blackmail girls who decide to, come out and talk about the shit he got up to while he's with them? What exactly is Turkey Boy so worried will come out about him? So worried that it would lead him into planning to blackmail, ready to do something to those girls that he's clearly experienced already with that whole ex-girlfriend hack thing. Like, the guy was so torn up about being blackmailed himself, he said ending it all even crossed his mind. But he's so willing to do that to another person, just incredibly suspicious is all I need to say about that. Well, it seems some other previous relationships would have a little bit of a build-up in that, case folder. Sacramento would allege that much of it would come specifically from Kai, a past girlfriend who would go on to date yet another commentary YouTuber, That relationship apparently went very sour and tore Tom up quite a bit. I mean, the guy moved multiple times since their breakup, but apparently still holds on to some of her clothing. That debacle had to have done numbers on him. Sacramento mentions that a few times throughout posts on Kiwi Farms. The next manipulative behavior alleged by both Katie and Sacramento would make anyone second guess if it's really just voice memos or voicemails in that just in case folder. Of course, we aren't throwing around any accusations here on Magraba, but Sacramento also makes it pretty clear she isn't saying any of the following aren't in that folder, but this behavior just really makes you think. Off rip, I'll read this. I'm not alleging anything illegal or saying it was revenge PORN or anything. What I meant was he wouldn't ask before and proceed to take his phone out mid-sexual activity to film. I sometimes wouldn't notice till like 15-30 seconds after he started filming. I have no idea if this is illegal or not, but yeah, he wouldn't ask before, reached out to an ex-girlfriend of his, and he would do the same thing to her. The blackmail he has on his computers, phone calls and texts I believe, most of them are from his ex-girlfriend named Kai. Now, regarding this part of the video, it is all he said, she said when it comes to the whipping the phone out recording without the girl's knowledge during their encounters. Despite the fact multiple girls have come forward with this now, with screenshots of Sacramento reaching out to Katie and meeting her, and Katie bringing this up without being prompted. The two having similar stories, almost establishing a pattern here for Tom. If this truly did happen, not only would it just be morally wrong, but absolutely disgusting behavior to, in the middle of what's supposed to be an intimate moment between two people, whip the phone out and start documenting what the two of them are doing together, especially taking into the account the anecdotes of the girls claiming Tom was extremely rough with them during these encounters, alleging he wouldn't even ask if it were okay beforehand, take things to that extreme, the girls believing he has some sort of weird egotistical power dynamic thing that he likes. It would be another one of those things dogpiling out of this weird I have so much power over you got going. Especially evident with the fact his phone call with Katie, he claimed he loved the fact, in a joking way, that he was so much stronger than this girl and that it was so easy for him to hold her down like, haha, you're so small and frail, I'm so big and strong. Like, we get it, man. You've got this weird, sick need to be in control of these girls.
True, actually true.
Sometimes you were like, oh wow.
True, okay, yeah, you're too strong sometimes. My little noodle arms, I thought my arms were gonna break at one point.
Yeah, you know, I'm just giant, strong, you know.
True. So true.
It's so nice though, it's like, cause like you're like small, petite, and I'm like big and strong, it's like we're like a nice couple.
Sure, it's like a match made in heaven.
And of course, all of this is completely ignoring the fact that that is wildly illegal. Again, if this is true, because we aren't the ones making the accusations, huge violation of privacy and even steps its toes into the revenge PORN laws. It's absolutely disgusting behavior. We do see claims of what exactly he does with these videos too, allegedly. Of course, knowing he might have that just in case folder filled with the blackmail does make one wonder if any of these videos ended up there, but that's neither here nor there. What Katie claims he does with these videos, because he was so incredibly addicted to watching PORN videos, was he'd go back and have to watch what he recorded directly afterwards in order to, let's say, complete the task, if you get what I'm saying. Level 9,000 gooner activities right there. You just hate to see the addiction get so bad. You can't even finish without re-watching it on a little 1080p screen in your hand. Like you were there in the moment. I don't get it. Now, out of all these allegations, despite the horrid nature of the latest one I've just brought up, this next bit would be debatably the worst of all, and that would be Tom's alleged enjoyment in age play. It'll be a recurring theme you'll find looking back at these girls that Tom finds himself interested in, is that they all just so happen to look to be on the younger side, which, I mean, if you look at the guy, you know, you wouldn't be entirely surprised he's into some weird stuff, because he does really look like a gooner. So the fact these girls look a little younger, when we start to get into these points that Tom likes to make, that he's so fascinated by the fact that these girls look to be around 15, or in some cases right after a certain kind of encounter would happen between one of the girls, he claimed that it's so awesome that she looks so young. I would say that's extremely concerning. What kind of man gets so enthralled with the idea of being with a girl that looks so young? And that's the only part about it that he's excited about. I mean, it's one thing for these girls to look so young. You know, it's another thing when it starts creeping towards that line, the line in the sand where you see like that girl Ellie, he really liked and continued to talk to during his relationship with Sacramento. You know, you see Ellie tends to dress childlike too. You look at her Instagram account, you know, going for that alarming schoolgirl aesthetic in some cases. Very, you know, super girly, super Hello Kitty-ish, but we're playing a whole nother ball game when Tom starts making various comments on just how much he enjoys that these girls look the part. Both of these girls would make separate but similar claims of Tom being far too rough with them, not asking and not necessarily caring if it were alright beforehand, providing absolutely no aftercare immediately following, hopping on Discord immediately in some cases. Just so awful if any of this is true, ignoring boundaries time and time again, being far too rough to the point of abuse during intimate encounters with them. I mean, even just the multiple times he mentions how young they look. And of course, again, that Instagram of the girl who really loves to pedo bait that he sent plenty of turkey dick pics to, all of it adds up to looking god-awful for Mr. Tom. If you look like an abusive gooner, you don't always have to play the part. But it seems, with everything coming out, Turkey's going the way of the lemur with this one. All in all, everything coming to light, so very concerning, but we'll just have to keep an eye on it as this develops. Anyway, if you liked what you saw here today, subscribe to see more shit like it. Or maybe even join the Pure Grub members to gain access to these wonderful emotes on the weekly Cyrax streams we've been doing. Thanks for making it to the end though, I appreciate you guys. Later, Grubbas.